Hi, my name's Todd, aka Mr. Enthusiast. I'm starting my first video, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about wine and help people who are interested in drinking wine or want to get into drinking wine, help them understand more information about wine drinking so that they'll drink more. I mean, hey, I love wine, and I can't imagine that everybody that wouldn't love wine. So this hopefully will help people to start drinking and enjoying wine more. Um, I like talking about a lot of things. That's why I kind of came up with the username Mr. Enthusiast. So maybe I'll do some shows later on stuff that I like other than wine. But right now I'm going to do a few series on wine. I've kind of done a little outline here and keep me on track. The purpose of the show is, again, to get people drinking and enjoying more wine. For me, I've been drinking wine seriously for about 10 years. I drink about 3 or 4 bottles per week with dinner along with my wife, so I'm really only drinking half a bottle 3 or 4 times a week. And I buy way too much wine. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I really do get into it. Um, I feel like I've learned a lot about wine in the last 10 years, but I feel like I still hardly know anything. So that's part of the fun of it all. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of this video, and again, you'll start drinking more wine. So why do I find wine interesting? I think the thing that I find most interesting about wine is that it's always different. It's always changing. It's always evolving. There's always something new to learn. As soon as you find out something that you like about wine, you'll get another door will open, and you'll stumble through and you'll find out something else that you like, or something else that's different. So it's really a fun pastime to learn about wine, to buy wine, to taste wine, to talk about wine. And you really have to do all of that. You just can't sit, drink a bottle of wine, and be done with it. Part of it is talking about it. So don't be afraid to talk about it, which is something I'm going to talk about more in a minute. So what makes wine complex? Well, there's really about 6 things that make wine complex or different. And that is, first of all, the vintage, when the grapes were grown and the wine was made. So every wine that has a year on it, that's the vintage. So if it says 2000 or 2002 or 2004 or whatever on it, that's the year that the grapes were grown in the field. And that the one thing when you make wine that you can't control is the weather. And so that's the one thing that's always going to make a vintage different from year to year, even if you drink the same wine, same grape from the same winemaker. The weather is going to impact it somehow. There may be years where the weather is very similar and ideal, and you might not notice a lot of differences, but there might be other things that change, the way the winemaker made the wine or blended the wine, that will make it different every year. And that's part of the fun, finding a wine you like, following it from vintage to vintage, and see how it changes. The other thing is age. So how long after the wine is made that you drink it. When we talked about a wine having the year 2000 on it, if you're drinking it today, it's a 6, 7-year-old bottle of wine. So it's very different than if you got it when it was released, which might have been in 2001 or 2002. So again, how old the wine is will impact how the wine tastes. A lot of people like to drink wine young, and they're used to drinking wine young. So when they have an older bottle of wine, they maybe don't get what's so great about it, because it becomes finer and things become more subtle, and it takes maybe more concentration to enjoy an older bottle of wine than it does a younger bottle of wine, where everything's kind of up front and more bold and less settled down. The next is region, where the wine is grown and made. That can change how the wine tastes. So you can get Cabernet Sauvignon from California, you can get it from France in Bordeaux, you can get it from Chile, you can get it from Australia. Those are faraway places from each other, and the soil and the climate and the winemaking styles vary dramatically in how they make the wine. So you may find that you prefer a certain type of wine from a certain region, and that's maybe where you focus a lot of your attention, as opposed to trying to drink Cabernet from all over the world. It can actually get confusing and not be that easy to keep up with. So I would recommend that you start with finding a varietal that you like, a type of wine that you like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot or a Syrah if you like red, and if you like white, Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc are probably two really good white varietals to get into, and then find a region that you like, preferably one close to you where you can find a lot of selections of wine easily, and start following different wines through different vintages, and maybe even own them for a period of a year. Like if you bought a case of wine and you drank a bottle a month, it would taste different, hopefully, different in each of those months, or towards the end after 12 months of aging. So the next thing that I've always think that people have a problem with when they're getting into wine is kind of being intimidated about all of it. There's so much to know, and there's so many people that are very opinionated about wine that sometimes just standing around drinking wine with other people or talking about wine, you may feel like you don't know as much. And that's just not true, because drinking wine is a very personal thing. It's going in your mouth. It's your taste buds. It's your brain that's interpreting those tastes. And so whatever you think the wine tastes like is what it tastes like to you. So you're always right. And so there's no wrong answer. And you should really think about wine that way. It's certainly what somebody else tastes in a wine or likes in a wine might be different than what you taste and like in a wine. And that's okay. That doesn't make one person wrong and another person right. It's just different perceptions, different opinions. And that's kind of the fun about talking about a wine, is that you can disagree and you can try to convince somebody of something. But again, no one is more right than you. And whether it's, the biggest wine experts, or, your significant other, when you're talking with them about wine, what they taste and what you taste is unique to you. And so, you really shouldn't let that affect your ability to enjoy and talk about wine. The other thing is, wine's an acquired taste. You may only like certain types of wine or certain characteristics in wine, and that is really limits or controls what you will want to go out and drink. And other people may have differing tastes. So again, when you remember probably tasting wine for the first time, or the first time you tasted a beer or coffee, you probably didn't like it as much as you do today, because it's an acquired taste. Likewise, certain wines that you maybe don't like as much today, you may learn to like as you get an acquired taste for them. So keep an open mind and always be willing to try something new. The next is kind of the wine tasting vocabulary. We talked a little bit about this, and being intimidated, not having all the right words to describe a wine. Cedar, tobacco, forest floor. There's a lot of words that can be thrown out there, and again, a lot of this is made up, and you can make up your own words, and that makes you right. So again, don't worry about having all the vocabulary. If anything, drinking red wine, talk about dark red fruit. If it's a little brighter, maybe raspberry, and if it's a white wine, you can talk about citrus and apricot and peach, and just play around with it. And again, the more wine you drink, the more you'll taste and the more opinions you'll have. And again, everybody's right. Well, that's all I was going to cover today. I'm going to cover the next show. I'm going to talk a little bit more about wine vocabulary and some of the words you'll hear thrown around a lot that you probably want to get a good understanding of. Probably just 5 or 6 words there. When to drink wine, how to drink wine, and wine budgets. So how much money you should be spending, and how to get into wine as cheaply as possible and get the best wines, and where to buy it, things like that. So I really would appreciate comments, feedbacks, and questions that people have. This is the first show I've done. Hopefully they'll get better, and hopefully you'll learn something. So enjoy wine. That's what I'm getting ready to go do. And I'll go make a new show soon.